Yo, yo, yo. What's going on,
on.
everybody? Who do we got here today? We got your boy, Glenn Lawrence, extraordinaire actor, bodybuilder, HUD's a superhero, and we got the husband, your dating coach extraordinaire from Philly. Today we're going to do a quick video. We want to talk about something that I'm pretty sure everybody understands, but we don't really accept it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And what I'm trying to get at is that nothing is ever safe. Nothing in life is 100% foolproof. And that's from relationships to your careers, even to your life. Your life is not guaranteed. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. So understand that nothing in this world is foolproof and safe. There's always going to be some risk. And understanding that allows you to see situations that come up in life and be able to address them in a more healthier way, because you know that it's not forever, that nothing lasts forever. So if you have the understanding that, oh, this is that time with this situation or this relationship or this door is closing, I understand. It's sad to see it close, but nothing lasts forever. So you appreciate it more while you have it. So I think we really need to get the understanding that, we need to enjoy the things that we have in life now. The time that we have to do things, the people that we have around us, make sure we enjoy that while we still have it, because nothing is guaranteed. Your career, you may hate the hours, but you enjoy the money. Enjoy that, because nothing lasts forever. That also could too change. You may getting injured, or you may end up changing jobs, or the company goes under. Whatever the case is, there's enough variables out there that could say that nothing lasts forever. So make sure you are enjoying it, but also working hard and moving forward, preparing yourself for that nothing lasts forever. You got anything to add?
Making sure, I gotta say that, making sure that you're bulletproof when a situation collapses in front of you, that you can actually move afterwards instead of being stuck and crumbling under that change in situation.
I mean, we are, the world that we live in always changes. I mean, you change every day. I mean, every day you get a little older. Every day I get a little older. The things that I used to do 10 years ago, I don't necessarily do anymore. I change. Everybody evolves. It's a change, and that's normal and that's healthy. But you have to understand that change means that nothing lasts forever.
And it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean,
No.
You never know that when something changes, like the next greatest thing that you've never experienced before could be right around the corner, and that could be the next thing.
And sometimes we need certain doors to close for us to actually be able to see what's coming next. A lot of times people don't want to leave their jobs, or, they don't want to do certain things because it's risky. It's risks. It's too much of a risk for them. So they keep that door open where they're at. But by doing that, they are not allowing themselves to see the next door of opportunity and success that is just beyond that door that needs to be closed. But they wouldn't realize that because they're staring at that door. They're walking through that door that needs to get closed at some time. And guys, we got to look at that when it comes to relationships, And I'm not just talking about your intimate relationships with your, girlfriends or wives, but even your friendships. Friendships do end too. And nothing lasts forever. And it's okay that friendships end, because that either means that you're growing, they're growing, or you guys are just growing apart. And that's fine, because again, nothing lasts forever. So just understand that everything in life is not permanent. Even the pain that you are going through now is not going to last forever.
Mm-hmm.
And too often what guys do is that we make a temporary, we hold on, don't make me butcher this, Rick, or Alex, or you say it, because you know what Rich Cooper says.
Yeah. Well, I don't know the exact quote, but you don't want to make a temporary problem permanent.
You don't want to solve a temporary problem with a permanent solution. I think that's what it is.
That wouldn't make sense. You don't want to solve a temporary problem with a permanent solution.
Well, because the permanent, that's permanent.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I understand what you're saying. We're both on the same page with that, because that's very, very true. Like, a lot of times when men are dealing with this type of stuff, like whatever it may be, they get so held up in, what they had or the comfortability, and then they make the wrong pivot, and we need to make the right pivot.
Yeah, and when it comes to marriages and relationships, I mean, everybody goes into them with the best intentions, or we like to at least think that we all do, right?
Well, it's the same thing. I want to say this. It's the same thing. I hold this very, very true, especially with all of my employees and with every job I've ever had. Nobody shows up to work wanting to do a bad job. I firmly and truly believe that. So with failed relationships and failed marriages and all of that, nobody showed up to that intentionally trying to do a bad job.
Nobody came in this, and nobody gets into a relationship like, I wonder how soon this is going to burn. You know what I mean? Like,
I can't wait.
Yeah, nobody does that. So relationships, guys, they seem to be the biggest thing that affects men, more than women. If you notice that, like, I mean, with male suicide at a higher rate than women after divorce,
five times the rate,
3.5 to 5 times higher. That just shows you that that change in their lives and is too difficult for them to bear, because they invested so much in that identity, in that relationship, that they feel like they lost everything since they lost her. And
so let me ask you a question, Glenn.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten into a car accident?
I was hit by a car a year ago.
Was there work that had to be done on that car?
Yes, there was.
Okay, so let's say that you didn't have the money to do the work on the car, and you lost that car. Would you be able to live with losing that car? That's exactly the same idea. And we're not saying like possession wise, like a relationship is a possession, but that's the idea. Like, that's what guys are thinking of it as, is like, I'm so used to driving to and from work, and my life is moved forward by this vehicle. And now that I got to get work done and there's issues with it, my life can't move forward. I'm broken.
Yeah, I think let me do another analogy. It's like this. When I was in the military, my job was my rank. My job was my MLS. I was known for doing that work. That was my title. My title was my rank, or my job was my job, but my rank was my title. That's how they referred to it. When I got out of the military and then I got into corrections, my title was correctional officer. Everybody knew me as a correctional officer. That was my identity to people. When men get married, they are now husbands to the world. The world sees him as a husband to this woman and a father to these kids. And then when the marriage ends and she removes that title from him, now he's trying to figure out who he is, because he invested so much in maintaining that title, and he had that title for however long their relationship was. Now that it's been stripped of him, he doesn't know. He's struggling with his own identity.
He doesn't see himself as who he was before. He sees himself as who he became.
Because he has all the time that he invested was into this. So, and I experienced that when I went through my divorce. and it was really difficult. No, it's not so much it was difficult for losing her as much as losing my son, but it was still difficult to process. And it took time. But sometimes guys, like, they get so beaten up over it because it's such a dramatic loss. I mean, think about here's the trauma of a divorce, right? You lose half your shit, right out the gate. You're used to coming home and hearing certain noises and people's voices and commotion in the house. That's now gone. You used to live in a certain area. Well, if she got the house, you're not living there. So there's so much drastic, quick changes that have taken place in the course of in such a short time. And people are trying to figure out what's going on with him because obviously he must be the problem, because that's what 90% of people think when a divorce happens is he must be the problem. So there's a lot of things that a guy is going through at that point. And he's just trying to grab onto something something that he knows is true for, to give him some sense of security. But the reason why he's struggling with that is because he put his identity in that title more than who he was. So he was not just a husband, but in his mind, all he was a husband. He wasn't who he wasn't. I'll use me for instance. I wasn't Glenn before, apparently, and I wasn't a bodybuilder, or I wasn't a corrections officer, or I wasn't in the military before. No. When the divorce happened, I lost everything. And that's the mindset that a lot of guys struggle with when they're going through a breakup or a divorce. And it's easier for them to get the understanding now that nothing lasts forever. And God forbid, nobody wants your relationships to end. But if they do, just understand that nothing lasts forever. And everything is, you are able to overcome all those things that are taken away from you. It does seem dark, it does seem difficult, but you can. And it may take a lot of work, but it's doable. And I wonder if it's not so much that it's not doable to these guys, or is it that they just don't want to put in the work to do it?
I think what it is that unless you have gone through one of those very, very serious experiences, it's very difficult to conceptualize it. And you always think that you're the exception of the rule, and it's not going to happen. But then it does happen at some point, and then you realize, holy shit, everything that these guys said was right all along. And that's when you have to adapt. But some people, they don't adapt, or they don't even try and consume this type of information. I mean, the guys in our space work on a different wavelength through the world. And it's very bizarre, knowing so many other people that do not, but we're very well equipped that in case of emergency, we know what to do, and we're able to get back up a lot quicker than most people are. And I think that's a very big point of what we're talking about, not just even in, with our relationships, but with the jobs as well. Dude, I'll never forget. I was working for this company, and I was there for a year and a half, and I was bringing a bottle of wine up to my boss, who was the COO, so the whatever that is, the operations head. And I was going up there with that, and I kind of like hid it underneath the desk as we were talking and just having a meeting, and I was ready to give it to him, and that's when he told me that I don't have a job anymore. And this was the day after Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Because the company was going under, and only 5 of them, which essentially was the exec board, was being kept. So the entire C-suite was being kept, and the rest of us were gone. And I was the very first person to know. And I was just like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Did you take back your bottle of wine?
I tried to still give it to him because I appreciated the time in the relationship that we had, but he told me you should keep it and you should
Like I got like 10 of them.
and you should drink it with your girlfriend tonight.
Oh wow.
I was like, this guy really just fucking said that to me. Like you should drink it after this news. I was like, holy shit. Like,
I mean, that's why we also got to look at it. It's important for us guys to diversify ourselves as much as possible, our time and our energy, and invest it in things that we want to see improve, or also like for if you're talking about career wise. I mean, I'm not just an actor. I have done many other jobs. I still do a lot of different things other than acting, and I'm diversifying my energy and resources into these different projects that are outside of acting, because they're going to eventually bring in revenue as well. So then I could have another source of revenue stream coming in, just in case acting doesn't pan out the way I want it to pan out. Or, you know, if you're working at a regular 9-to-5 job and you get off work and you invest your time off into starting up your own business, it may not be anything, profitable for a while, but who knows, 5-10 years down the road, you might have yourself a very good side business that ends up turning into your main business that you live off of. So, I mean, you got to always be aware that things are going to change, and you have to be able to adapt to that. I think failure to adapt is like the Achilles heel for most people to have to deal with. You know, I'm not sure if it's the unwillingness to want to adapt, or the stubbornness to, or they're just so caught up in the fact that of what they lost that they don't see the point in trying to adapt.
I think they haven't. That's the thing, is I don't think that they've experienced the true loss yet, or even if they have experienced the true loss, they haven't experienced loss when you're prepared. Because if you experience loss when you're prepared, you're good to go. And that's one of the things I wanted to share, like in the whole reason why I started the coaching business. There was a period of time during COVID, and I'll openly admit this, that I was struggling with alcoholism. I was drinking way, way, way too much. And it caused a rift in my relationship at the time. And, you know, this girl at one point just completely ghosted me. And now we had a 5-year history together, and that's a whole other story. But she just completely ghosted me. And during that time, I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I just felt so lost because I was trying to work so hard to become better. And I felt like the one person I had was abandoning me. Now, you know, what did I do from that? Well, I still had the skills in relationships. I still had the skills in dating. And I was able to bounce back very quickly. And that's when I decided I'm going to start a dating coaching business, because I know how this works. And I was able to bounce back so freaking quickly when other people wouldn't be able to. You know, they say about half the time you're in a relationship is the amount of time it takes to get over a breakup. Fucking bullshit. You can do it in a month easy. But it's because I had the skills and I was prepared.
I think it also depends on the length of the relationship and how much was invested. You know?
Yeah.
And you could get over the monetary things that you invested, but when you invest your certain amount of time, like that's the one thing you can never get back. You can never recover from, and you have just to take that loss. But you're right. What you did point out was that you went through a situation or a struggle or a trial, right? And you sustained a loss in a relationship, a loss of who this person was to you. And you had a level of dependency upon them. And when you didn't have them to rely on, it probably created more anxiety and more, depression. But you had to get to a point where you had to say, this is not good for me. To be so dependent upon somebody else, to keep, see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of guys and women, just people in general, we do that. We really do. We put more on other people than we rely more on other people than we actually think we do. And when they're not around or they don't, do what we like or want them to do, we kind of struggle with, adapting to that scenario.
We rely more on other people to do more for us than we do for ourselves.
Yes, and that's crazy when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I experienced that myself when I was, like I said, when I was married. I invested so much time into that relationship. I just kind of always expected that to be a thing, and when it wasn't a thing, I had to quickly learn that nothing lasts forever, and that regardless of how I was feeling about things, that everything's going to be okay at the end. It may take a while to get to okay. I may not feel okay right now, but
that's the thing. How did you think it was just going to be okay? You just magically thought it was going to work itself out?
No, I asked myself some serious questions, right? And this is stupid, right? This is a funny little thing you could do, but stupid. I'm like, well, I know I'm not ugly, so I definitely won't be alone forever because I'm attractive. I could pull some girl if I wanted to. Oh
this
yeah,
is news. This is
I'm a
news
sexy beast. Don't try to put no shade on me. But I'm like, okay, so I know if I really wanted to get in a relationship, I could attract another person to get in a relationship. Two, I came to an understanding that I am not the marriage. The marriage was something attached to me. So I was always me before the marriage, and I was always going to be me after the marriage, right? So my identity wasn't in that anymore. And I think once you start telling yourself these things and you start walking through these things mentally, you could prepare yourself to be okay in the future. Does that make sense? Like you're starting to like, okay, this marriage didn't work out. I'm not the marriage. The marriage is not my life. Obviously, I'm still here. I'm living. So I'm not dead. It's not the end of the world. It hurts like fuck, but so does getting shot at. So does, falling. And everything, even the pain in that is temporary. So this pain too will come to pass. This pain too is only temporary. And I think once I realized that, I was able to be okay. Like, even though I wasn't okay at the moment, it gave me enough understanding and hope that I knew I was going to be okay eventually.
Mm-hmm. I have to say that bouncing back type of thing, because we're talking about how you need to be prepared. I think actually giving the tools to be prepared for that bounce back should be an entire show in and of itself. And my head is already brewing with some ideas. But I think this is a good start for at least like talking about it. And it's a very important topic. We need to make sure that we are prepared, because all things end.
Yeah, and it's a good thing that all things end, because if things never ended, then you will never appreciate the things that you have. If things were forever, every relationship is going to last forever, then you wouldn't not appreciate that relationship while you have it. Your life is, could be gone tomorrow. You appreciate your life while you have it. You don't want to take advantage of things that are not forever. And understanding that it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. So it also gives you, the encouragement to enjoy the things that you're doing now. Enjoy your life now. Make sure that you are taking time to find the joy and, feel that joy and express that joy. And I'm struggling with the word here, but, like accept or just meditate in that,
Mm-hmm.
in that moment while you have it.
Yeah. Be present in every moment
Yes.
of your life.
Yeah. And I don't think I do that enough. I'm pretty sure you don't do it enough.
I'm perfect. What are you talking about?
I think that's something that, guys need to, to work on is like, you know what? I need to be present in every moment and appreciate the moments that I have before they go. So, but do you have anything else for this one?
I don't. With that, we'll see you guys. Looking forward to the next one.